I'm guessing they ran 10 miles earlier in the day, followed by 100 push-ups. I figure some of our future troops can have a little R&R so they can go watch a football game. Nebraska at Wyoming in the 4th annual six-man shootout football game at Guernsey. First quarter, Nebraska wearing the white. Nathan Woodrum from Sioux County had to scramble. He sees two receivers, and he will connect with Tyson Dahlgren from Banner County for a 13-yard score. Conversion no good, so the score is 6-0. Wyoming would try to respond. On 4th and goal at the 8, Brady Esquibel of Guernsey Sunrise tried to hit Jordan Perkins of Little Snake River, but Clay Goodwin of Cody Kilgore would break it up. That was about it for the first 10 minutes, and the score would remain 6-0. Second quarter, the visitors were knocking on the door. They would get to the 5-yard line, but then they would cough it up. Treasure Hollister of Guernsey Sunrise with the recovery for the home team, and that would enable them to start only their second drive of the game. That drive did not go too well. Kurt Leesburg from DuBois needs to get out of the end zone. He would, but he had to end up eating the ball. Casey Lomley of Cody Kilgore was bringing the heat, and the drive would end with a 3-and-out. Wyoming's defense had their moments, though. Siler Monroe from Silver Lake is not going anywhere on this play. C.J. Smith from Rock River brings him down for the loss. He was representing a Longhorn program that just completed their first season of varsity play. The home team was out to remind the opposition which side owns this series so far. Austin Quinn of Guernsey Sunrise collides with Monroe, and the Viking won that exchange. That was the best hit of the game, but you do not get any points for that. The visitors brought it as well. You saw one play earlier. Leesburg's going to get introduced to the ground by Matthew Walkowiak from Spalding Academy. Plays like that were one of the reasons why this has been a pretty low-scoring game thus far. Here's another reason why it was low scoring. Wyoming had some problems hanging on to the ball. They did end up recovering all of their fumbles, but plays like those can end up killing your own momentum. However, the defense was able to save the offense for a while. Rowan Hawk of DuBois has Woodrum on the run. Great shoestring tackle, and he would get his man. His older brother played in this game 2 years ago, and he was hoping for similar success. He is going to play for Team USA in the upcoming Can-Am Bowl. Later, Wyoming took a big chance on this play. 4th down at the Nebraska 35. Plan A did not work, so Esquibel had to improvise. He launches one downfield and finds a wide-open Hollister who reels it in and stays on his feet just long enough to get into the end zone. Plus 2 points on the kick, and they are on the board with the lead up 8-6. There was still a little time left before the break, and Nebraska made the most of it. Monroe pitches to Woodrum, who pitches back to Monroe. He's got some room on the far side, reaches across the goal line, and he is in on an 8-yard run. He watched this game on his own home field last year, so he was motivated. The lead has changed hands. It was 14-8 going into halftime. Third quarter, the home team would take another chance on 4th down from the 5, and disaster struck. Bad exchange on the handoff. Wyoming ended up dropping the ball 6 times, and plays like that was why they ended up with negative yards rushing for the game. The visitors would cash in on the turnover. Woodrum on the option pitches the ball at the last moment to Monroe, who got some great blocking, and he would go 16 yards to the promised land. On the drive, Wyoming got flagged for 25 yards in penalties, which is pretty big in six-man football. The score was 20-8 going into the final 10 minutes. Fourth quarter, they would stay after it. This is Juan Garfio from Minutair taking the long way around for 5 yards, but it got 6 points, plus he would add on 2 more with the kick. Nebraska has now gone ahead 28-8. At times, Wyoming was their own worst enemy. Watch the takedown. The refs called it a chop block, so that will wipe out this play. It would have been a 15-yard touchdown pass from Hollister to Tanner Jensen of Little Snake River, but instead the ball was moved back an additional 15 yards from the spot of the foul, and that was a pretty big penalty. And it got worse. The home team had to go for it under the circumstances. It's Hollister on the reverse attempt, but the defense saw it coming. Great pursuit by Dalton Penny from Wilcox-Hildreth, and this play ended up being a 21-yard loss back into Wyoming territory and a turnover on downs. At this point, the writing was on the wall. But just to be sure, the opposition would punch it in one more time. Most of their attack was on the ground, and this was one of the few passes. Brandon Stevens of Spalding Academy put just enough on this throw to get it over the defender and into Monroe's hands for a 22-yard score. Monroe had 100 yards rushing, and this catch was his third TD of the day. Thus, he got offensive MVP honors. You could say to some degree that Wyoming shot themselves in the foot a number of times, but that was not Nebraska's problem. After 4 tries, they are finally taking home the trophy as they would win this game 34-8.